how to feel about DJing particularly. It's like, in one way, it's creative, but in another way, it's very much being an entertainer rather than an artist, should we say. What you're doing is you are providing a service for people to basically have a good time, escape their daily life, you know, like just like go to another place and kind of forget about things. So you have to have that in mind. But I guess my taste in music is perhaps not very mainstream, so I just don't really have this. If someone came to me and say, hey, can you play like 90s deep house? I just don't have any of that. I don't really know where to begin. I don't know anything about it. I know what I like, and I guess you're trying to meet people halfway. I would probably be a lot more successful if I tried to please other people, but I don't really know how to do that, so it's not like I try to only please myself. There's something Brian Eno said about how the artist always wants to give more information than is actually needed, and I've generally found that to be true. You don't need a lot of music for it to be a good piece of music. And actually, the less you put in, the more people can kind of like guess the rest. Well, it's like if in a book, if someone was to say, okay, he's an old man, he's got a beard, he's got a jumper. You have an idea in your head of like what this guy looks like, even though it didn't say specifically what he looks like. You can start imagining it and building this character in your mind. And I think music kind of works in a similar way. Woo. Cheers. And I didn't really like minimal techno, though I appreciated why it was so popular, is because it's very blank.
Yeah.
And so people can project what they want onto this,
exactly.
And so they get out of it what they put in, you know. Yeah. And so it's like I understand how that functions. I guess for me, I like a little bit of a story, or I like something really weird to happen, like.
Well, people doesn't expect.
Like something that really, which I find more in Italo disco, and especially like the other thing that's happened is that EBM is it's become very fashionable again. But all the EBM I like is kind of goofy. It's like a little bit silly, very like tongue-in-cheek, maybe like a little bit camp even.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's take Front 242. There we go. Front 242, I don't know, I think they got a really great sense of humor. They're not really this super dark thing, though they have elements of that, of course, but I get a sense of completeness. It's not just like relentless kick drums and FM bass sounds, you know. And I think it's important to get people thinking a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
especially when you've got like
even if
idiots like Ed Sheeran fucking writing the worst songs ever written. You can keep that bit. Honestly, I'd never heard his music before, but I was in the supermarket and one of his songs came on and I was listening to it going, this is literally the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life. And then it turned out there was this huge pop star. And I'm thinking, can no one else hear this? Is it like in They Live? Have I put the sunglasses on and I can see how the world really is? But everyone else is like, oh, he's fine. Leave him alone. It's like, it's not fine. It's not fine. People deserve better. Humanity deserves better.
But they don't want it.
Well, they don't know they want it. That's my job. To say you don't want this. don't know anything about deep house. I know because it became very fashionable again, right? Like deep house became very fashionable, so I had a lot of my releases tagged as deep house, and I'm going, okay. So I guess that's what I make now. My favorite band of all time is Goblin, the Italian progressive rock band. Although I tried to release one of Claudio Simonetti's records, but it never really happened. But that was going to be my, like, thank you so much for so much inspiration and everything. And so I went to see John Carpenter like 3 days ago. He was playing in Utrecht, and that was a pretty big deal. Yeah, it was like really strange to be like this far away from someone who's who changed your life, like definitely, yeah, changed the way that you thought about music, the way you saw the world, put you on a path that you would have. If I hadn't have got really into John Carpenter's films and music, I probably wouldn't be sitting here, because I'd probably be doing something else. It's really wild to think of these people who like, and then meeting them. It's almost as if they're not real, you know? I remember meeting Dario Argento at a film festival, and I just couldn't believe that he was a real thing. If someone had told me, like, no, there is no Dario Argento, Tony. You invented him because you're insane. I would go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then he's just stood there in front of me. I'm going, what do I do? I wouldn't say like idols, but people I respected and I met, and I didn't really like them after I met them. Well, I can still have some respect, you know, like it's like, okay, this person and I are never going to get along. But when you do meet someone that you respect and then you do become friends, then it's like, it's, yeah, that's really nice, you know, when there's, they go, oh, you're cool, you're cool. And I have a lot of friends, like, made some really good friends that way. I've been listening to loads of Killing Joke. Do you know this British punk band called Killing Joke? Yeah, I've been listening to loads of Killing Joke. Bunker Records in The Hague really have a lot of time for Guy and their output. I think the last few non-reissue things they've done have been like really amazing, really weird, and like totally worth investing in, you know, like seeking out. I always get really excited whenever there's a new Bunker release. But not, no, I shouldn't say that. Because there's a Bunker in New York as well, and I really like it, but I don't like, and I like the guys who do it, but I don't get as excited as when Bunker The Hague releases one. But also they release things more sporadically, so it's always more of an event, you know, like, oh, there's a new Bunker, and then you buy it, and then you go, yes, this is insane. I'm really happy. Together a band with a live drummer and me singing and playing guitar and synthesizer, and then we did one show, and then I filmed some stuff in the rehearsal room and I sent it out to people going, hey, I have a band now. Nobody booked us. It's like, I don't know what I mean, yeah, I know it's sometimes hard to justify like the flights and everything, and so, but I mean, we're in Holland, you know, we can get in a car, we can go play in Germany, we can go play in Belgium. It's not as if we're completely cut off from, it's not like we're in England, you know. The infrastructure is set up for DJs, live performers, and in the weirdest case, especially like with the synthwave guys, like one guy, laptop, one controller, this is what the infrastructure is set up for. Like, then you have like one flight, one hotel room, like minimal gear that you need. Whereas if you go, oh, I've got a live drummer, they go, okay, so now we need a drum kit. You go, okay, now we need a place where we can play drums. We can, because you can't turn drums down. And I think it becomes a bit of a problem. And I kind of hope this changes in the future. When I was young, I used to go see like bands. I didn't really go out to clubs unless there was like, sometimes you would go to see bands and then it would turn into a a club party, but this was during the breakcore days, you know, so like the music would be as intense as the bands that came before it, and I kind of miss seeing.
Еще не написано сколько. Скажи, кукушка.
You know, there's so many options out there digitally. You can just buy loads of stuff from back. You can get bogged down with how much stuff. So I like to limit myself by actually buying things and then ripping them off. I also like to put new projects that I've finished into my library as well, to kind of road test like new music that I've written. I think it's important to be able to stand out from other people who perform as DJs, because they don't have music that I wrote last week. So and I get good, and you can get good feedback of like whether the crowd like, or whether this will be something that will be popular in the future, or even just the enjoying that other people are enjoying something that you've written that may not be a popular piece of music that